Okay, greetings in Hotep. Gogo, I'm going to make sure to delete this after I post it. It's 11:23 a.m. Tampa, Florida. Yesterday I was having a bit of an emotional meltdown and I went out into the world with my head not covered because I couldn't find my cute scarf. We went and ate at a church, had a great time, but I have been throwing up ever since last night. Now, my youngest daughter, Abby, was with me. She ate. She didn't have no problems. So I'm beginning to, oh, Pastor Eva, Thomas Stewart's friend, I guess, church member. I don't know their relationship. Is irrelevant to me. Showed up at the church and sat down. I ate about 5 pieces of cake. That's really what I ate for dinner. Some macaroni salad and 5 pieces of cake. There was a water bottle on the table that was not ours. I didn't feel like going to the store to buy water, so I said, Abby, we're going to take that water bottle for the dogs, and then that way we don't have to go to the store and get water. Well, we got the water bottle mixed in with our water bottle. I honestly forgot about it, so maybe that water bottle was the source of my problems. I'm wondering, in the tarot, they have been talking about my siblings and my down low ex friends that use women and children to finance their lifestyle and then offer them up as a sacrifice to be killed for their coven after putting in life insurance on you. And this is a real story, my real story. And many other people are dead and gone, and you all don't even know that this is what happened to them. That they have been paying witches, brujas to come from other countries to come here to lay me to rest. Kill me with death spells and black magic. So I'm beginning to really believe that whatever they do, they can actually attack your physical body. And you'll be thinking that it's something you ate. So thank you, Creator God, that I'm back to normal. But I haven't budged. And I planned on doing some things, and I'm going to have to delay that plan. What I really want to say to you children, just because you see a person in a shiny car, they wear, nice little clothes, maybe got a couple of brand name watches, and they live in a nice house, doesn't mean they're nice. According to Tarot, I should be getting $800 every month from my trust fund. I get $0. Lost my food stamp card, so I don't even have an EBT card. And there are people around me that are spending money that is intended to be spent on myself and my 2 children who are living in Ragamuffin Palace. Okay? Anthony was driving a 300 Series E-Class. Ava still has her black Maxima. She probably has another car. I keep seeing this cream-colored Jaguar. And Alva is riding in a little red Lexus. Donnie, if he's still alive, I'm sure he's upgraded. He might still have his little black Mercedes van. I'm sure they're living in nice places. I heard something about a condo. And they evicted 4 of my 5 children. Alex, my nephew, who I'm sure worked against me now, and myself from my childhood home, June 2nd, 2022. How would you feel if you got evicted and you knew you were evicted from your house that was paid off, but they done paid Hillsborough County Sheriff officers? 4 Hillsborough County Sheriff officers were in my front yard, spearheaded by Officer Say, Saey, tall, light-skinned, bald-headed black man. 4 Tampa police officers were in my yard to evict me, like they were coming to get a dope dealer. Marcus Leggett. We went to school with him. That's probably Ava's friend in contact. Were in my yard to put me and my 4 children out. If it were not for me doing some research and finding out anything I put on the sidewalk is mine, I drove the car that Lawrence gave me, the 2011 Dodge Caliber. It's like a orange, mango tango is the color. There's a burnt orange, which is darker than mango tango. And years ago, there were 4 young teenagers in a car the same exact color. This was before Mr. Lawrence had given me the car, but he was allowing me to drive it. And I felt like they were trying to do something to me. So this was at the corner of 19th Street and East Hillsborough by the McDonald, in between McDonald and Hillsborough. And maybe my nephew Alex was setting me up then. Now, the way they got me is they know I love my nephew. I was trying to save my nephew. I did not understand that my nephew was already working against me with my siblings who wanted to sell the house. My mom, Dorothy Atkins, and Arthur Atkins left at least 6 pieces of property and put in her will, don't sell this house at 6010 North 32nd Street, Tampa, Florida. My attorney, Laura, Lara Gallo, Gallo, also turned her back and worked against me. Now I'm alleging that these people have been paid off out of my money, out of my trust fund, out of the money that I was supposed to get from People Ready, out of the money I was supposed to get from Liberty Staffing, out of the money that Emily Oil, I believe, gave to Liberty Staffing to give me, or maybe People Ready. Now, this is the problem. Okay, my USF settlement, the settlement from Morton Plant Meese Hospital that stole my children, lied against me, called me crazy, giving me a bogus medical diagnosis, and came in my hospital room and took my 2 placentas by force and rolled me down to the psych ward to do so. But before that, they forced me to have a C-section that I'm certain I did not need so that I could not stand up for myself. Because when somebody cuts your body open and pull 2 babies out of your body so you back up, you're at a disadvantage. You know, I wasn't healed. I didn't stay there but 3 days. And then my mom paid for me to stay in the area for a week to breastfeed my children. And Scott Crawford of the Department of Children and Families lied and turned his back on me and transferred my case to Hillsborough County when it was in Pinellas County. As an activist, I had already upset and pissed off so many people with my form and style of activism. My Reality Speaks TV show down at Speak Up Tampa Bay was upsetting many people. Louise Thomas, I'm pretty sure she's still there, was allowing people to sabotage my TV show. It was a live call-in show. She kept trying to get me to move it from being live call-in to pre-recorded because the powers that be, Mayor Pam Iorio, Hanging Chad's attorney general at that time was Charlie Crist. The mayor at that time was Jeb Bush. And they were not dealing with me fair-handedly. The chief judge at that time was Menendez. And I was doing what God said do. Turn over some tables. Let them know they will not make mockery of him and create a den of thieves. Well, it's cost me a lot. Police started following me. One almost ran me off the road as I walked from the cable station, which was once back on North A or North B Street. The property, I think, was owned by the University of Tampa. It's moved around now. I've been looking for it. It was at University Mall. So I've been looking to get my intellectual property, my shows, and Dr. Conley shows that I appeared on. Now, I'm talking to you about 50 to 80 people that have worked in concert against one woman and my little 4 children to keep me in a dungeon. They know that I need $4,000 to pay my filing fee to run for public office. And they've decided that I am not worthy to run for public office. I'm not worthy to have food that I buy with my own money. I'm not worthy to select my own housing and pay my own rent. So they are lying to the judges in the 13th Judicial Circuit Court to say that I'm crazy and I need them to be over my money. Can you imagine? God has provided everything you need and you have no access to it. So what's the big problem? The big problem is jealousy and envy. But let's talk about the nominal world. My mailbox at 6010 North 32nd Street has mail that comes there for me. Aset and I went and got a Social Security card. And the lady told me I done applied for 13 Social Security cards, which I haven't. So there's fraud going on, and it's primarily my family. The bank card that I applied for online so that Angola and Abby could go to Planet Fitness and take baths because we don't have running water or electricity where we are, but it's a very peaceful place. If I had my money, I would buy myself another solar generator for Patriot, Apex, Jackery generator. And then that way we could plug up fans. I could add a TV to the selection. I could even cook with a 1500 watt solar panel generator. But they have decided that I am not worthy of having any of my money, any of my properties. And this is Anthony Catharterus Atkins, my oldest brother, the firstborn, Alva Melreen Atkins, secondborn. I'm Aileen Dorothea Atkins, I'm thirdborn. And then Ava Raquel Atkins is fourthborn to Dorothy Atkins and Arthur Atkins. So when you all are talking to me out in the world because I vent to strangers and you're saying pray for them, I'm still looking for the scripture that says pray for the devil. When people show you that they have turned to the dark side, you better not pray for them. Now I want to speak to my nephew single-handedly because my nephew single-handedly betrayed me. I thought my nephew and I were on one accord, and he was playing both sides of the fence. Shout out to Power, 48 Rules of Power. Pose as a friend when you're really a spy. And the day, February 22nd or 24th, in the year of 2022, it was a Friday. I was sitting in the house praying, and I saw a lady with wide hips walk up to the mailbox. She either took something out or put something in. I don't know who this was to that day. It was either Genesis, Alexander's ex-girlfriend, or Kenyatta, the flight attendant, Carolyn Waldron, who lives in Arkansas, which is John Waldron's niece. Her son, Michael, I guess his last name is Waldron. She has 2 children, Michael and Brian. His girlfriend that drives in a Range Rover takes John Waldron, who lives at J.L. Young Apartments, to run errands. And I saw, I'm pretty sure that was Mr. John and Kenyatta in the field by my house on 30th and Hannah. And I'm like, what is Mr. Waldron doing over here? Well, they were playing mailbox games. They had been meeting for about a year, secretly meeting on how to take me down, take everything I own, put me in a insane asylum so that they can split up my trust fund and the monies that were coming to me. I'm a half a billionaire. But they're like, she don't deserve it. That's Anthony. She don't deserve it. She ain't been working. But I have been working for the Creator. As an activist, when you stand on a picket line and you put your fist in the air to say that we want justice about something, and justice comes, that's God's work. Now, I don't clock in anywhere and get paid by anybody. As Lily Smith, the advocate, I do what God tells me to do. And many women, families, and children are with their mother because I stood up to the 13th Judicial Circuit Court. But I didn't raise my twins. They took my twins at 3 days old and she said that she heard voices. When what I really said was I was talking to my babies in my womb. This happened on May 26, 2004 at Morton Plant Meese Hospital, Clearwater Beach, Florida, where I was gutted like a fish, cut open by force, under duress. Dr. Louis Paleo, Dr. Pettigrew, Petegrew, and considered as being crazy by a quack by the name of Dr. Gustavo Quadra of the psych team. Children, these people pay people off to get whatever kind of perception put on paper. He wasn't the only one. There was a Dr. Alberts. His office is on Davis Island. He was 500 pounds when he was so-called going to figure out what was my problem. And I said, how y'all going to let this crazy tell me I'm crazy? At that time in the DSM, 4 I think we were on, obesity was considered a mental illness, as it should be. They took it out though, because there's a lot of fat professionals and they don't want to deal with their pain. They don't want to heal. So they just remove the truth. The other psychologist that did me dirty was Dr. Lisa Gaze. So they'll go in, they'll meet you, and they'll write down whatever the court needs them to write down to take advantage of your life. The attorney that did the most damage was Norman Palumbo Jr., the first. Was he the first? I think so. There was him, Henry Noble, Angela Bridget Wright. Come on, my memory is failing me. Anthony Robbins. He might be dead. He allegedly had cancer. That's the other thing they do. They'll create these sicknesses, and their doctors will put that they're sick on paper. They might even be sick on paper, but they do these things so that they can deny you access to justice. He was the appellate attorney for the hearing when it went from the 13th Judicial Circuit Court to the appellate court. Let's see, there was some other attorneys. A Spanish guy. He didn't stick around but about an hour because he could tell what time it was. I told him I'll do a psychological evaluation in court. In court. Judge Catherine G. Esrick. And she wouldn't let me do it in court because, they were kangaroo courting it. This was all a setup way back then, and I had no clue. I kept saying, God, how could these people call me crazy, take my children, and keep them, terminate my parental rights and everything, just because they don't like my activism? Now, where's the justice in this? And when you go to the courthouse at 800 East Twiggs, you see Lady of Justice, or the Marine Spirit, looked like to me, now that I'm learning about these things. She got one hand high and one hand low. So they show you right in your face, we'll give you justice if you do what we say, if you do what we want you to do. And so now Chief Judge Ronald Figueroa, I hope, is on the right side of things, getting me justice. I was begging Rick Melendi, court administrator, he might be gone, or they might have pretended he's gone, or they might have given him a fake name. That's what they're doing with Ronald Figueroa, unless there really is a Christopher Sabella who's supposed to be the new chief judge. I don't believe Christopher Sabella exists. I think Christopher Sabella is the same person as Ronald Figueroa, the chief judge. And I think Anthony Atkins is the same person as Eric Allen. There's an attorney that comes on YouTube. His name is Toby Smith. And he has this infomercial that says, we will hide your business behind fake LLCs. So A Plus Property is the fake business that evicted my 4 children, Alexander, my nephew, Alexander Malik Thompson, who was Alba Atkins' firstborn son, and myself, Aileen Dorothea Atkins, from my childhood home. My bankruptcy attorney, Laura Gallo, got me to sign forms, then refused to take my payment, and told me in the presence of my fake friend, Letitia Karima Penn, you got to go through your brother. To do anything, you got to go through your brother. I said, what do you mean? I own 25% like Anthony owns 25%. He doesn't have more power than me. She knew what happened. She was my attorney. I signed papers with her. She turned coat on me and then wouldn't even tell me what was going on. Well, you got to go through your brother. And you know, my brother's very unhealed. We grew up with a lot of alcoholic, domestic violence, bantering. And it wasn't really fighting. Arthur got drunk and beat on Dorothy Atkins. Dorothy Atkins, as the empath and enabler, loved Arthur, so she accepted the beating and allowed her children to see the beatings, allowed her children to fight their dad to try to protect her. And this was a common cycle back then. And I try not to judge my mom because life be lifing. But I feel like if she had had the strength to let him stay in jail, go get help for his alcoholism, for the anger that he was harboring against white America, for taking his job and crippling him and not allowing him to be able to be the breadwinner in the eyes of his family. My mom ended up working 2 jobs at the Spring and at Irwin. And after Irwin, she went to, before Irwin, she was at Brewster. But even when she was retiring, she was supposed to get 30 years. They screwed her over and gave her 27. And then according to my brother, her retirement fund couldn't go to the twins who she had custody of, because when the person dies, the money dies with them. It's a lot of corrupt things going on in America. So what I really want to say to you children is, just because you see them sitting in church and they clapping and praising so-called the Lord, that doesn't mean that they're Christians. My 2 sisters and my brother know that I have money. In December of last year, it was very cold in the Ragamuffin Palace where we are staying. We ain't stayed with them since we left June 2nd, 2022. Now, they probably telling all kind of lies and creating all kind of fake rental receipts and stuff because they do fraud. It was so cold in here. But when it's cold, you can get enough blankets to warm up. It's just getting up and walking around and going to the bathroom and fixing food. It becomes uncomfortable. I called them and asked them to give me $100. I was in Home Depot on Yukon and Florida. Neither one of them gave me $100. They wanted to negotiate. Now, can you imagine somebody has millions of dollars that is your money? You call and ask them for a crumb, $100 to buy a Mr. Buddy heater to put on top of the propane tank that you already have. And they tell you, well, you need to sign No, I don't need to do anything but stay black and die. That's what we used to say when we were children. So I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. And now in Taro, they're talking about there's somebody in my family that has control over it. And they're saying that I got the money. They lied to the courts and told the courts I got the money. So for some reason, I'm now looking to my firstborn child, who is a grown person. But I don't believe my firstborn child would lie to me, be getting money for me. And then when I call for money, sometimes it's $20, sometimes it's $40, but because he has his own family and children of his own to take care of, vehicles and, a big old house to take care of, I don't lean on him because the Bible says you're supposed to leave your mother and father and cleave to your wife and the children you all produce, or, the children that you have in common that come with the marriage. So I don't bother him unless I absolutely have to. I really, I'm, I'm hurting. I try not to think about it. I've already placed it on the altar of the Creator. I did go back and try to get myself some help. I personally delivered letters to Allen Temple AME Church for Pastor Dames. That's the pastor now. I came up under Reverend Burroughs. We've been through a lot of pastors when I was there. The Green Boys, John Green and Sister Phyllis Green, and quite a few others. And because my sister and cousin Toy goes to Allen Temple Church, my little sister Ava, the one that I helped to graduate from Barry University and get her degree because they were trying to block her from graduating, she called me. I prayed and I asked God how to help her, and I helped her. I helped her when her baby daddy Ray was trying to get custody of her daughter, and he was in a better position working for the city of Tampa, had gotten married, had a house, and she was in transition. She was working on her degree. I helped her. If they haven't closed the case, when you go down there and look at the child support or child custody case that was prepared by Aileen Atkins, it sealed the deal. Now, she did end up paying, I think, $1,000 and getting an attorney and handling that situation. But as far as exposing the truth, I had already laid it out. I laid the foundation, and the attorney is the one that got the money, and he's the one that got the recognition. And that's the way it's been. People use me and my connection to the Creator, because the Creator loves me. Something special, like he loved David. And I'm not one of those gropers for money. I know that you need money. And yes, God already told me people are going to give me things: houses, cars, estates, favor. They are going to always give me favor. And these people, my family and these down low exes, decided that my favor should be their favor. And so I have to depend on God, because other than that, I'd be crying every day, depressed and sad. And the Creator God said, you got things to do. So what I'm working on now, and I talked to the the guy who is sponsoring the meals over at the church about helping me. I have a building that someone said I could use, and I want to turn it into a hostel where I put a bunch of recliners in. Homeless people can come in, and since, do I say this part, Creator God? Yeah, they steal everything anyway, so they'll take this idea too, and then they'll let somebody in the city do it and be like, oh, yes, we came up with a, solution to the homeless problem, when it came through Aileen Atkins, as God gave it to her. Because I ain't trying to say I got no whole bunch of power. I got the power and the intelligence to listen to the Creator God. So the Creator God said, everybody that has a Social Security number is already a corporation. So they should give you a blue trash bin and a green trash bin. And we will have an area where homeless people can put their blue trash can and their green trash can. And we'll lock them up some kind of way, probably with a little bar. And that way people don't have to walk around lugging stuff looking homeless. Put your belongings in your blue and your green trash can. Now, everybody will get a membership to the gym. So now you have access to a place where you can go wash your body every day. The other thing we want them to have is an annual bus pass. And this is how you rehabilitate people. You invest in them so that they can invest in themselves. So if nothing else, you can be clean. You can walk around looking dignified without having to carry bags and bags of your belongings. And then you can get around. Go to the library, go to the Social Security office, go to the food stamp office, and slowly rebuild yourself. What I have learned about being this low down is if you don't get help, you're pretty much going to stay there until a miracle of God takes place. Do you know how many people I know from graduating from, starting my master's degree with National Louis University? I was in a cohort. Dr. Marie Nelson was my professor for my cohort. Let's go back up. University of South Florida. I graduated. Mr. Moore, he works over at Academy Prep. My son was there when I met Donnie Dwayne Flowers. That was a setup. That's one of these down low brothers that I'm talking to you about. Pretend to like women when they full on love men. And they're going to take advantage of you, steal from you, and take care of their gay lover. And he's one of many. I'm just pointing him out because he was supposed to be my friend. He was supposed to be helping me find myself a husband. And he turned coat on me. He probably was never with me. I think it was a setup from the beginning because Ava and Anthony sent me on a Friday to pick up a Moon, my twin son that they stole from me from Morton Plant Mease Hospital. The theft and the termination of my parental rights happened through the 13th Judicial Circuit Court. Why I got to go pick up somebody almost 13 years old who all they got to do is walk across the street, get on bus 9, and be dropped off 1 block away from the house? So it was a setup for me to meet him and his dog on the corner while I was waiting for my son, my twin son at Academy Prep. And the setup was I would tell him information that I wouldn't tell my siblings because I've always felt like my siblings didn't like me. And that's what happened. At Donnie's house, people went through my car. And I was talking to him about it, asked him to look at the video footage. He lied and said, nobody went through your car. I looked at the footage. I'm like, well, I want to see the footage. He wouldn't let me see the footage. When I was at his house, I would go there to think and get away from the kids and kind of just like have grown people time. Now, I've never had sex with this man, but I have put his dingling in my mouth and sucked it. So he's never put his penis in me. And I know that's kind of graphic to say, but I want you to know the nature of the relationship. My Social Security cards, my children's Social Security cards, and birth certificates and things have all laid on the ottoman at his house near his sister's comfy couch. Now, he said his sister Carolyn died and that was her couch. It's a very comfortable couch. I used to have a lot of prophetic dreams on that couch. Not only that, when I was at Johnny Will Lofton's house, now I'm explaining to you about a 10-year span of time, they were going through my car. His baby mama daughter and his ex dyke girlfriend that he kept trying to get me to want to do some threesomes with. Child, I'm not into that. They were going through my car, and one day Johnny Will often called and said, "Lee, you trying to kill me? You trying to kill me?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So people were running rumors in his head, and I said, you can go with your rumors and go with your, Aunt Jan and cousin Cat, your all Chitling cook-off. These are his people in Fort Lauderdale. His sister Rosetta, she seemed to just be trying to get him off alcohol. I don't know. Gail and Diane, I think I met in the thrift store. I've never met her at his house. But a lot of people be going to church and doing voodoo. So I'm like, somebody doing something to you. And I didn't know who it was, but he didn't even believe me, so it didn't matter. But at his house, they were going through my things. And Thomas Stewart, I would be at his house, and I would park my car where I could see it because the Johnny Will often broke my window and refused to fix it. So the passenger side window has been broke for many years. And you can just walk up and unlock the door and go on in there if you big and bad enough. And Thomas would be like, "Oh no, you don't have to worry about it here. You don't have to worry about it here. Nobody's going to touch your car." I'm like an idiot. I'm believing him. And people were going through my car there. So my information is all over the place. I got at least 12 doppelgangers. The people that I'm adding to my maybe doppelganger list is Miss Leaks. I can't remember her name, but she married Michael Leaks. I'm assuming that's her married name. I met her through Tia, my daughter-in-law, and she used to have my grandbaby calling me auntie. And I kept saying, I wonder why she's having him call me auntie. Is she ashamed of me? Now, she grew up in Central Park, so how's she going to be ashamed of somebody? But she could have been because, at the time she had a pretty okay job and she could keep up with clothes and, wigs and hairdos. And I was looking like a ragamuffin because my focus was on raising my children and knowing who they were around and making sure they weren't molested and hunching like we used to do when I was a child. You hunching with your cousins and shit. And I ain't gonna say no names, cousins, so y'all can calm down. I don't plan on saying names. Now, if God puts it on my tongue and it oozes out, that happens sometime. But I don't understand why we can't all own the shit that has happened to us. So y'all won't be trying to kill me to keep your secrets. So as far as I know, my children haven't been molested or hunched upon. When I went to live with Millie in Boston, well, Roxbury. I worked in Boston, but she lived in Roxbury. She told me, because Anthony was like, "If you don't put them kids in school, I'm going to call DCF on you." I said, "Oh, okay." So now they want to take Abby and Angola. They done already took the twins, the only children I ever prayed for. And through the courts, they're going to try to use this, well, if you don't get a psychological evaluation and prove to me that you got enough sense to pay your bills and take care of these children, you don't get them. So, they want to control the activists. They're going to manipulate things and lord over me. And he did that. Anthony did that for a long time. He allegedly got custody of them and became their adopted father. But what I'm learning now is they did a lot of manipulation in the courts. I said, please. So I was telling Millie, who was supposed to be my friend, about it. She's like, "You need to come here. We'll build your, homeschooling resource center and we'll do all those things. I got an office and you and the girls, y'all can use my office as your bedroom." So that sealed the deal. I want you to know when I get to Boston, this child said, "Okay, the girls are going to sleep in here. The kids sleep on this side of the house." Now she's got 3 boys. Let me see. Rasheen is the youngest. Rasheen, Ishua, Sarah. Okay. So she's telling me that my girls are going to sleep over there in the little, those, it's a big full mattress on the bottom and then a twin mattress on the top. My children are going to sleep in there in the same bed with her boys. I said, no, the hell. We had an argument. This was the first night I got there. I probably should have just turned around and left. I didn't really have money to turn around and leave, but I could have got it. I could have stood outside with a sign until I got money. Took my ass back down to Canal Street in Chinatown. Well, first you got to take a 4-hour bus to get out of Boston back to Canal Street. And then for $40, you can take the Chinese jitney bus. And it's a 24-hour ride and end up right back in Tampa at the Oceanic Chinese store, right across from Stetson in Tampa, down by the overpass. And that's what I should have did, but I stayed. I got employment. And I told her, my children are not going to be sleeping with your children. And Millie said, you know they going to hunch anyway, right? I said, no. That's not going to be a part of their reality. That's a generational curse we're breaking. My children will not be hunched upon by their siblings and or cousins and or other people. That doesn't have to happen. There's many people that grew up and they never hunched with nobody. Ain't nobody feel on them, and they didn't play mama and daddy and get under the table and, dry humps. All of these things happened to me. And so I didn't want that for my children. And it was a hard way to go the whole time. And the other thing I struggled with is it seemed like she wanted to get into threesomes with her roommate, which was a male. They did this party company thing where they dressed up like clowns and did face painting and made animals and stuff out of balloons. They call it busking. And they did pretty good. I mean, they made like $250 every party. And it seemed like they had at least one party every weekend. So that's $1,000 on top of their jobs. But I didn't come there to get into no sexual escapades. So I was not going to be having sex with her roommate, which she was sexy. That didn't make sense to me. You sexing to me? You think I'm gonna? No, I'm not. So that was a bust, and I ended up upset. My twin girl kept calling and crying, Mom, I miss you, I miss you. So I came back so I could be around my daughter and try to lessen the psychological, emotional, and mental blows of being stolen from a mother that prayed for you, despite the fact that I told the daddy, which I didn't know if it was Paul Hanner Jr. or James McCaskill Jr. at the time. But when I look at the children now, they'll be 20 this month, May, on the 26th. To me, it's pretty clear. My son looked just like James. Got that flat head, that bubble butt that sits high. It looks like James is the daddy. But I told James when I was leaving the Alternatives abortion clinic across from Hillsborough High School on Central Avenue that I would take care of them and I would not bother him. And that was the plan. But I didn't know my family was working to take my children from me. My mom definitely knew about the trust fund. Anthony probably knew about the trust fund. I don't think Ava and Alva knew. Because for a long time it seemed like Ava was supporting me. It could have just been acting. She's a Scorpio. They're quiet and deadly. Yes? I don't know, but we're going to delete it, okay? After I upload it, if I'm able to upload it, I want you to help me upload it in parts and pieces. We'll upload it 10 minutes and then make that part 1, the next 10 minutes part 2, like that, and then just delete it. We need another SD card. So we struggle and have to get SD cards and ask people to help us. So basically what I'm getting from what happened to me yesterday when we were at the church eating, there is a guy, he and his girlfriend or his wife, I don't know. I met them through eating at the Hyde Park church on Sundays over on Davis Island. And yesterday he was sitting at the table and I said, "Hey, where's your girl?" And he said, "She's in jail." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, first time offense for panhandling. I got $150 to get her out." And I'm on the phone waiting. And her sister said they would get her out, but it seemed like they playing games. But a real man don't let his woman sit in jail. I said, "Yeah, that's right." So I was feeling like he was talking about my situation that happened when they put me in jail from court. And my attorney, Barbara Twine Thomas, she's a judge now, was laughing at me because she was trying to control me. I said, "The only thing that's going to work for me, Mama, is for you to file a motion to dismiss because they don't have any probable cause to have taken my children. They need to reinvestigate using truthful, real information." And she refused, just like Norman Palumbo Jr. refused. Yes.
There's no everything I can eat. My stomach hurts.
Yes, there is. You don't want any sausage or hamburger from yesterday? Okay, well, let's get out of here and go get some food, because I'll have to make a fire and make some oatmeal or some toast. That's pretty much what we have. And then we have a bunch of stuff in the cans: canned green beans, canned corn, spaghetti sauce, tomatoes in the can. We've got tomato and rice soup and a couple other different kinds of soup in the can. So I'm going to try to wrap this up because I'm trying to tell a whole 40-year story in 40 minutes. So my attorney, get you what?
The plate.
That's right here. You smell it, and if it don't seem right, don't eat that now. I don't really, I and then eat a pack, 2 or 3 packs of chips until we can get to.
Smell it and tell me if it tastes good.
All I smell is pickle.
I'll eat some of the pickle.
Yeah, eat the pickle. The vinegar will help settle your stomach. She has been under the weather too, but I think they're doing dark magic on her because they had insurance policies on our life. Anthony, I think Ava, and what's that man's name? Dwayne Flowers. And the 13th Judicial Circuit Court, when I go down there, and I'm a citizen, even if you want to call me crazy, I still deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, and for you to give me the information I request. They let somebody marry me, an imposter. I've never been married. So I was trying to find out who they married me to, and they're keeping all this secret. They done married me off to people. Maybe I've been married 2 or 3 times so that these people could take money that I had. And that's how they were able to evict me from 6010 North 32nd Street. They married me to somebody, and whoever they married me to sold my 25% interest to my brother, Anthony Atkins, which removed my name from the deed and left me with 0 interest. I didn't know this. This has taken, about a year to find out about. And they evicted me with an illegal detainer, which you only use an illegal detainer when you have a person that has no interest in the property. And I was heir to the property, 25%. So when I go back down to get another copy of the will, because they keep changing the wills, they take some pages out. The last time I bought 6 pages, there was 2 more pages that Anthony showed me right after my mom died. My mom allegedly died July 14th in the year of 2006 at St. Joseph's Hospital. But she was really medically murdered, if she's dead at all. I don't even know if she really died that day or they faked her death, collected an insurance policy that the large portion was supposed to go to me, and I have not received it. I don't know if my mom was in on it. I would like to think not, but money does crazy things to people. And it's not really money, it's low self-esteem and the desire to feel important through having money. That still doesn't fix the problem. So they married me to somebody. Now let me tell you how they got my driver's license. My fake friend, Donnie Dwayne Flowers, is some kind of way connected to law enforcement. He had his friends pull me over. Thomas Kelly, a female.
How long has it been going already?
It's 50 minutes.
50?
50.
Mama,
Relax.
it's gonna take a lot of storage, Mama.
Okay. See what I'm saying? The little things that I could have. They don't give me $0 of my money. I have never received $1. Not only that, I did a GoFundMe, Dorothy's Will, and they took over my GoFundMe and paid the house off. Between that and the gift that Mr. G of Jervix Holding gave me, because I wanted to get the house back down to zero. My mom left that house paid off so that we didn't have any problems. All we had to do was pay the taxes, which they were $500 with my mom's homestead discount. And after my mom died, they went up to $1,500 a year. And the insurance, which Anthony did through Annette Wilson or something out of Opelika or Miami, and she ended up refunding $700 of the $1,000. Now, what I did not know was that my brother was allegedly doing some kind of drugs. I knew he was an alcoholic. You know, that's common when your dad is an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic. But I did not know about the drug part. And he might still be denying it. Maybe he is telling the truth now. Maybe he went to get some kind of treatment, but he's a habitual offender on the DUI, so he can't drive. So I keep saying, now, how you around here driving and shit, and you ain't got no driver's license? You're a habitual offender. So he created a new person. I think he is either pretending to be my last baby daddy. I have several. And for you all that think that I should feel ashamed for walking away from men that mistreated me, I don't. I saw my dad mistreat my mom for 27 years. She finally divorced him, and I was proud of her for that. Don't stay in some shit you know ain't right. And that's what she did all those years with my dad. And I asked her, I said, Mom, why do you stay when he treats you like that, throws plates at you, push you down, and cause you to fracture ribs and things? And she said at that time, a lot of men were molesting their stepdaughters, and she didn't want us to go through that. And I understood that in her mind, the only way to be whole was to be in a relationship with a man. And that's the way it was back then, so I understand that now. But when I was coming up, if y'all didn't treat me right, I'm out, never to return again. I don't have one baby daddy that can tell you after I left they ever came back and had sex with me. They did not. They did not. If you left me when your kid was 5 years old, that's the last time you had sex with me. And so, but a lot of men, they lie and tell people they still been sleeping with me. And that's shameful, but it ain't true, okay? That's what you need to know. My daughter, she's going to keep whining about this. I don't want her to lose all of her drawings and stuff in the phone. Mr. John Waldron was a part of stealing everything that was on her iPad, I'm sorry, back in, what was that, 2000 and what? 2020. He had the security guard from J.L. Young walked all the way over across the street to Wawa to get information from me. So I'm assuming he took the tag number and then found out where we lived. John Waldron had in his house, I hid in his house because that was supposed to be my godfather. He was supposed to be my mentor. He was supposed to be helping me guide and direct a life where I could make sure my girls were set. We were working on getting them into the pilot program. because there's a lot of grants for minorities that want to become pilots. And he turned his back on me too. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I hid a limited attorney, power of attorney in his house that would give Donna Young, my Lotus birth mentor, limited custody of my two Lotus birth babies, Angola and Abby, the last two that were birthed at home. I gave birth to Abby on June 14th, 2010 at 2212 East Mallory Avenue, one of the two small shotgun houses directly behind the Florida Sentinel that Irene P. Scarborough, my grandmother, owned. But my mother bought those two properties from her. They were not included in the probate. There was only one house that was included in the probate. And Anthony went and found a probate attorney, Leroy Merkel. And they had some shady business. He went to Georgia and let Irene Scarborough sign and give him ownership of Mallory, both of the Mallory properties, 2210 East Mallory and 2212 East Mallory. Now, if that was in my mom's probate, how can Irene P. Scarborough give him ownership? She left 6 pieces of property and said share equally. Anthony Atkins took everything, including properties that were given to me, I'm alleging, by Les Brown, the motivator, to help me establish a bookstore. And I have to check and see if Richard Spearman gave me permission to use his property. And then I need to check and see if my friend George Powell Jr. left me something when he passed away here in Tampa. He was living with his girlfriend, Brenda. And I thought I would run into his best friend, Lewis. I haven't. But yesterday, I saw the watchman, who is a retired veteran. He was friends with George Powell Jr.'s girlfriend, Melinda. And I saw him on the bus last night. Was it last night? Okay. I want to tie up all these loose strings. So I didn't tell you about the birth of Angola in the bathroom at 6010 North 32nd Street on a Sunday, February 25th, 2007.
Seriously, this is going on to be a whole hour long.
If you're fussing with me, then I can't think, and it fragments my thought process. So I need somebody to help me get in touch with Brian Stevenson. He was the movie. What's the name of that movie that Brian Stevenson's life is about?
I have no idea who Brian Stevens is.
He's an attorney out of Alabama. He graduated from Harvard. I missed the class that I was going to take earlier last year in August with Harvard Online Business School. They just they find it. I don't know. They're trying to make me be Goliath, and they just are fighting against me so that I can't advance my life. And then they're like, oh, we'll take pictures of her when she go to the pantry and tell the people to argue with her and deny her and try to get an argument and record it so we can present it to the judge. Yesterday, a lady was giving out bus passes. Before that, she was giving out ice cream. And I said, excuse me, ma'am. And she ignored me and kept walking. So a Caucasian lady that worked there, she went to her and got the strawberry ice cream and gave it to me. So when we were walking out, she rushed to get in front of me and say, bus passes, free bus passes. And I said, excuse me, can I get some bus passes? And she ignored me again and walked past me to give it to somebody outside in front of me. And then when I said, Mama, can I get a bus pass? Ain't no more free bus passes. I said, I just saw you put them in your pocket. First of all, don't be pocket watching me. So that's supposed to create an argument so that they can record it or call the police and, have the police violate my rights and tell me you can't come back here for 365 days. That's what they did to me when they evicted me. So I told you the 2 home births. Okay. So they evicted me from Dr. Twiggs, which was my dentist as a child growing up. His building is vacant at 3304 East Hillsborough Avenue. Me and the girls, we went in there to keep ourselves warm so that we didn't have to go back over there with Anthony and let him argue and call us motherfuckers and niggas as he was doing before we got evicted. The courts were siding with him. Chris Freeman, code enforcement, had some little backdoor deal with him. And we ended up evicted from a house that I own 25% of. But I wanted to say about the eviction at Dr. Twiggs's building. Somebody allegedly called and told them I was selling drugs. I don't do no drugs. I ain't never even tried no drugs. And they were trying to make me out to be a drug lord. And if you have a corrupt judge and at least one corrupt police officer, you can do these kinds of things. And this is what I'm finding out. And I think maybe that's why God has me in this position, because he knows I'm going to go to the very ends of the earth to get this exposed and corrected. I can barely just. Be quiet. Be quiet though. And pray. I keep telling you how to handle this. Pray. Dear Lord, shut her mouth. Quiet her heart. Let me see if I can wrap this up. So there's corruption within the clerk's office under Cindy Stewart's administration right now. I mean, there was corruption when it was Pat Frank, and I've never really gotten any justice from either of them about the corruption. Tamika is a corrupt clerk. She's probably still there. When they evicted me on July, I keep saying the 25th. It's either July 24th, 25th, or 26th of 2023. Dr. Twiggs came. Pepolowski of the Tampa Police Department and Sergeant Stein of Hillsborough County Sheriff Office was there. And the yard man, the little Spanish yard man in the white van that cuts Dr. Twiggs's yard. And then they called a locksmith. They put us out. Now, I was praying and God said, you're not going to have to leave. Dr. Twiggs said that Les Brown didn't send him money. He ain't get no check from Les Brown. And I thought Dr. Twiggs was lying for a long time. But really, my brother or sister might have stole that check. Somebody might have stole that check and maybe he didn't get it. But what I do know, if I would have had access to my money, like I told Dr. Twiggs, I'll pay you for the year to be here. I figure, there's no running water, no electricity. We're thankful to be here. We're going to buy a solar generator, put our panels right in the window, and we're happy to be here. We can plug up fans. I had 2 air conditioners that I could plug up, and we just stayed in that front room. We didn't stay in the back part of the house, that we would be able to stay there until we got our footing and we got the letter from Judge Cheryl Thomas that we could return back home. And I'm still waiting on that judgment. I think she did rule in my favor, but when I go down there, they don't give me truthful information, the clerks. So Tamika's name was on the eviction from 3304 East Hillsborough Avenue in July of 2023. But her name was Tamika, Suttle or Suttel. Now, Tamika's name was also on the bogus eviction when they evicted us from 6010 North 32nd Street on June 2nd of 2022. Except her name at that time under the seal was Tamika Jones. So Jones is the same last name as Abraham Vada Jones. Him and his girlfriend, wife, mama, Martha O'Donnell, have been gunning for me for a long time because She feel like she can talk to me any kind of way. Him too. And oh well, I ain't got nothing. You got to come back. They want you to come back 4 or 5 times to get $100. It's like, and then when you come to get the $100, they might have 50. It's ridiculous, but that's between them and God. The Word of God says a man who doesn't take care of his children is worse than an infidel. And he made me go to the courts and have them swab my mouth to prove that this was his baby. I hadn't had sex with anybody in 3 years before I slipped and fell underneath this character. And it came back, and he talking about, they say it's 99% mine. They say, child, please. But children, you have to take responsibility for what you lay with. And that's why I can take the L's, because I made a mistake and laid with these people that didn't have the same
99% his,
values.
all his though?
Pretty much. Leaves a 1% chance that it's not.
Isn't that probably because that's your 1%?
I don't know enough about paternity to say. It could be a brother that has close. I don't know. So children, learn how to masturbate. Stop having sex for the sake of pleasuring your body. Learn how to pleasure your own body and stay away from people until they are presented and proven to be tried and true. I have had sex with a bunch of handlers and people that they've been sending to me. So I'm going to wrap it up here and say, would you all please Google Brian Stevenson of the Justice Initiative, IEJ or JIE. He's in Alabama, and tell him that Aileen Atkins needs to really speak to him. Okay? They have the phone cloned, so they get my phone calls and they handle business, and I don't get to handle business. And God is literally killing people because they refuse to repent and make their crooked road straight. And as they die off and go to the federal penitentiary, I'll have access to my life again. My brother, I'm alleging, is living my life as Alan Atkins. He has created a fake person, ALAN, Randall Atkins, and I think he's using my social security number. And when checks come to the house or business comes to create income, he is taking those opportunities and giving them to people he wants. I got shot at when I was working at Rogers Park, and I filed a complaint with the United States Department of Labor, and I should be getting a compensation check for that. I think Al had a shotgun under that blanket that he had over his lap when he was riding around on the cart, and he met me over at hole number 3 because he knows, you have to get off over at hole number 3, and you got to rake up one time, rake down. And I think if I had not turned off the lights on Bertha, that's what I call the raker because I raked bunkers in the morning time, 5:30 in the dark until I usually finished about 7:30. If I had not turned off my lights, I think I wouldn't be here, or I would be here in a vegetative state, having been shot by a shotgun. And God is so good. I just have to be thankful, even though I'm going through all of these things. Sometimes I watch Lifetime movies and I'm like, wow, it's amazing what people go through. And I remember Donnie used to always tell me not to watch Lifetime. So the whole time I knew Donnie, he has been instructing me to be a patsy. When I told him I thought somebody was going through my car and I'm going to get a alarm put on the car, he said, no, don't get an alarm put on the car. When I told him about me getting ready to go to Stetson, he said, no, you won't like it. I have a friend. I think it was Barbara Pittman, attorney Barbara Pittman. That's his friend. And you won't like being an attorney. So he is advising me so that I can't become a giant, because he knows behind the scenes that they are stealing from me. And when I told him to go to Harold, my friend that I hadn't talked to in about 10 years, but when we were friends, he said, we'll always be friends. If you ever need me, contact me. And so I did not want to be intrusive in his current marriage or, relationship. I didn't know what he had going, but I really felt like with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, this is one person in the earth that I can count on to help me. So I said, hey, would you be the go-between so that it doesn't cause any friction with his wife? Because women, we're fickle like that. Your friend from, college all of a sudden, calls you and need help. No, you ain't gonna help that bitch. And sometimes people literally just need help. They're not trying to reconnect with him and, do no sneaky shit. And so I just needed help. And I know Harold gave him something to give me. And he came back and told me that Harold said he ain't got nothing to give you and he doesn't ever want you to contact him again in life. And still to this day, he meaning Donnie Dwayne Flowers, has never given me anything. He's a miser. He'll give you $40 every